everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. So a bunch of these videos are all going to be filmed around the same sort of time, so please do excuse the fact that same outfit, blah blah blah. But I wanted to come on today to chat to you a little bit about the reality of being a mum during a pandemic, a first-time mum more precisely. I can't speak from the perspective of having to homeschool and all of that kind of thing, and I think that looks like it must be so incredibly hard, and anyone who's doing that is just amazing. Like, I don't know how you're doing it. But there has been not too much, I think, said about what it's been like being a first-time mum during a pandemic, and everybody is entitled to kind of be worried about what's going on in their life at the moment, and I'm not kind of saying that it needs to be something that everybody worries about, because it's not. It's just something that's affecting a certain amount of people, but it's affecting a certain amount of women who I think must be struggling a lot, because I know that I have and still am. And I haven't got a solution for it. I just wanted to just talk to you about it honestly. And so I gave birth on the 18th of March last year, obviously, and we went into lockdown on the Saturday, and I gave birth, I think it was on the Wednesday. And so I didn't have to go through my pregnancy during lockdown and during kind of like COVID at its peak, which is something that I, again, think must be so incredibly hard. I want to open up a conversation in the comments down here as well, so please, anyone that's in these types of situations, let's get talking. But the anxiety that you must feel because you're a little bit more at risk and all of that kind of thing is just terrifying. So I wasn't in that situation. I was able to have my partner and my mum there just for the end when I gave birth, and I was discharged from hospital the next day. I didn't have a particularly long labour or anything. It was very quick, and so that side of it was all okay. But I saw the midwives after I gave birth twice, and I've seen a health visitor since I've given birth once. And I've spoken to the health visitor since I've given birth 3 times. I have not been to a single baby group. I have not made any kind of like mum friends. And my baby has been in lockdown. This is making me feel really emotional saying this. My baby has been in lockdown for the first 4 months of her life. And then now we've been in lockdown for a month again, and I worry a lot about what this is doing for her development. And I know that people say that, you know, all your babies need is you, and that you're their main caregiver and all of that, and I agree, and that's absolutely fine, but I think it's important for them to see people, to see things, to experience different things. And I also think that it's important to acknowledge, I saw on Instagram, I think her username is Lizzie Lately or something like that. I'll try and link it down below if I can remember. But she's also a first-time mum. Her daughter's like a month younger than Lola, and her daughter's very, very cute as well. And she was talking about acknowledging the fact that you feel that your kind of maternity leave period has been robbed like from you, because you just feel like the experience that you thought you were going to have and that everybody else has had prior to this has just been robbed of you. There were no, you know, meeting a friend for coffee and then like cooing over your baby. There were no baby groups. There was no way to kind of make any friends, and it has just been an incredibly, incredibly lonely and isolating experience. And I never thought how important having mum friends actually would be. I thought if you were a fairly well-rounded person, you know, you had family, you had friends in general, you were lucky, right? You were good. and you are. But when you have a baby, you need other people who also have babies to discuss baby things with, because they are the only people who can make you feel like A, you are not boring, you are not paranoid, you are not insane, and genuinely just get it. Nobody who's not in that situation cares how many times you've been up in the night. All they will say to you is, oh, naughty. Oh, that's crap. And that's the extent of it. And it's not anybody's fault. Like, what do you want people to say? That is all people can say. But it doesn't help you. It doesn't make you feel any better. And the number one thing, well, two things actually, that new mums need is sympathy and empathy. Those are the absolute key things that you need. I'm really lucky throughout most of these lockdowns. Paul has been home with us, so I haven't been just me and Lola on our own, and that's been really helpful. And it's been helpful kind of with like sharing the sleepless nights and all of that kind of thing. But it's still just very much something that I think we have missed out on, like this wave of new mums have struggled so much with loneliness, and you know, your friends and your family will ask you how things are and things like that, and people can take an interest, but it's a limited interest because it's not interesting for other people. They've got their stuff going on, their stuff that they're worrying about, and that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be, but it doesn't make your experience any better. And I just feel like we're lucky in the sense of, you know, hopefully by the time our babies are of an age where they can understand what's going on, things won't be like this and they won't remember it, and that's great. But I really feel like it has impacted my first time mum experience so massively, to a point where it has made me kind of very seriously think, would I do this again? And that is purely because this experience has been emotionally really hard on me, and I'm sure it's really hard on you when you have a baby in general, because it's just a massive shock to the system and it's difficult. But the monotony of being stuck indoors so much, and the anxiety of seeing people and taking your baby out. Like when Lola was tiny, she literally for about 4 months didn't go anywhere, because I didn't even like taking her like into a supermarket, because I was just worried that like she would get sick. And I know that, you know, babies there's hardly been any cases where babies have gotten COVID, but there have been a few, and you don't know if that's going to happen to you, and it's not rational. Like, it's your baby, do you know what I mean? They're the most precious, like, perfect thing to you, and you want to make sure that they're safe and well and protected, and that you would never ever forgive yourself if you made a choice to take them out and something happened to them. So I know a lot of mums have been struggling with that kind of anxiety. I'm not blaming like midwives and health visitors and that kind of thing. I'm sure they've got a lot going on, and they do phone and check on you, and when I have spoken to them, they have been helpful, and I'm sure they wish that they could help more, but that's just not the situation that we're in, is it? And I think the main thing that has made us struggle has been the, like I said, monotony of the days. I mean, like, we're up a lot in the night with Lola as well. She's not a great sleeper. She's also not napping too much anymore, and it is very difficult to kind of soldier through sometimes when you just feel like your day never ends, because it just goes into the night and then it's the next day, and you kind of like, there's never an off switch for how tired and kind of overwhelmed and how much stuff you have to do. And I guess that's motherhood in general, isn't it? But when you're able to go out, when you're able to just do stuff here and there, it breaks it up a little bit, and it does make it easier. It really, really does, I find. When, like in the summertime, things were hectic because we'd opened back up at the restaurant and it was busy and all of that kind of thing, but it broke it up and I found it a little bit easier. I really, really did. Seeing people, talking to people, watching Lola interact with people, it's just been that little bit easier. And if you're like the first person within sort of your friends group or your family to have had a baby, it's actually quite a difficult position to be in, because everybody loves your baby and everybody's in awe of your baby, but nobody gets it. You're on such a different wavelength, and you tell yourself that that's not going to happen, you're still the same person, you know, all of that kind of thing. But it is different. It's different to relate, it's different to think about anything other than the fact that you're really exhausted, that you can't get your naps sorted, that you can't do XYZ. It's that baby fog is very much real, and like I'm 10 months in and I'm still not out of it. And it has just been a very, very tough experience, but I'm incredibly grateful for how much time Paul has gotten to spend with Lola, which he wouldn't have gotten under other circumstances. And he's incredibly grateful for that, and she absolutely adores him. Like, she worships the ground he walks on. She just says Dada about 500 times a day. She loves him to death. So that's lovely. But yeah, there's no point in kind of dwelling about it, but it does make you kind of wonder what things would have been like otherwise, you know? So yeah, a few resources for if you do want to talk to people. Look for local baby group Facebook chat groups. There are quite a few of them. In Wales there is one that I've been using that I post on quite often. I only post sleep related questions, they probably think I'm boring on there as well, to be honest. My Instagram, I am talking about stuff on there, which is linked down below. The Pina app as well I have found to be quite helpful. So there are a few resources, I'll try and link what I can below, things to help you. And I've been just trying to kind of implement a little bit more like self-care-y type things, not like, you know, ugh, kind of things, but trying to just read a chapter of my book at night when I get into bed, even if I know that I'm going to be getting up soon. Sorry, I just find it helps my brain a little bit. So yeah, I am going to love you and leave you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.